Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back for another brand new video. Now today's video, as always, we are here to break down, react and discuss the latest Rangers game. A Rangers game that I'm not afraid to sit here and say to you, people had the old Chiquitas gone like this. I'm sorry people start the video off like that, but I don't know how else to explain what I've just experienced, because I'm sure we've all went through a similar rollercoaster of emotions. Start of the game, seeing the team thinking, alright, okay, we're against a team that's making a lot of changes, we're at home, we're playing phenomenally well. This right here could be the bona fide spanking we know is coming, because we've seen that in the games under Giovanni. We know that cricket scoreline is going to come in a game, and there's a lot of questions, a lot of smiles that this could have actually been the game, but it was the exact opposite, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we love football, because of the unpredictability, even though it adds a tremendous amount of grey hairs right here in itself. And that was a hard slogging game, that was a hard fighting game, that was a game of football. The longer they went on, we needed somebody to step up and be counted, and for the best part of that game, ladies and gentlemen, when we needed them our most, your captain stood up, took the responsibility and took the 3 points from a spirited Dundee United side who threw themselves into absolutely every 50-50, every ball that was there to be playing, and time wasted more than what was added on midweek. Speaking of midweek, by the way, it was actually the same referee, and I can understand why there was so much criticism of the laddie, because that referee was bona fide awful, and the longer you watch today's video, the more you actually realise why. But let's talk about this game in football, right? Because there's no too much to actually monologue here or dance about the year. It wasn't a fantastic painting a picture style performance, but again, the old attitude that I've said here many times on the old channel, whenever a game like this comes around, this is the games that shows you are champions, you can be champions, and you want to be champions, because everything we tried the night, any of the fast passing, the zipping, the corner goals and long ball, that's been absolutely pinpoint, like he's cheating on Warzone, people, no missing any the last 3 or 4 games. Put it bluntly, we couldn't do right for doing wrong for large periods in this game, but again, you learn a lot about your team and what you're actually made of in these types of games. And if you go back to last season when we did end up winning 55, look at the string of 1-0s, how many iffy performances, how many almost and maybes that happened in that game. Last season's undefeated league campaign, scoring goals, keeping clean sheets, was built on a lot of those types of wins. So I'm absolutely delighted overall, and I'll be sleeping very happy tonight, especially now that I've seen it under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst as well, because that was interesting, because we've seen everything go well so far under Gio, looking devastating on the counter-attack, playing some lovely football, but that wasn't what we saw this afternoon. And I thought the changes, and the longer you watch today's recap, the more you understand the way he actually influenced the game for the dugout. No sitting on his hands waiting too late in the game to make some changes. No, he was proactive and changed it when it needed to be changed. So very impressed with what I saw for the gaff of the night as well. But enough talking around the game, let's go ahead and talk about the game recap. And whilst we do that, by the way, if you didn't mind hitting that subscribe button, if you are new around here, we're closing in on 52,000 subscribers. If we could hit that before the end of the year, that would be absolutely incredible. I think we're less than 200 away, so any help, nation, would be absolutely sensational. Speaking of absolutely sensational, that was almost the exact opposite in my mindset when I saw the team sheet gets announced by Rangers, because there was a couple of changes. That backline was absolutely mental, and believe it or not, you might have actually burnt this for your brain, but we started this game off with Tavernier right centre back, Big Connor Goldson left centre back, Patterson at right back, and Big Calvin Bassey at left back. It didn't last very long. In fact, the experiment completely was changed within 7 minutes of the game, because the first shot on target in this match that a lot of people, again, was point scoring as a big goal difference type of game of football, actually went Dundee's way, as they get a kind of Dundee United way, sorry, whatever, great about it if you want. But anyway, the ball breaks down to them and everything like that at the edge of the box, ends up striking it, but it's very comfortable. It's not one of these yins that McGregor has to have a McGregor moment. But again, they showed that if the ball's in and around there, they'll have a pop for range and ask a question. Where I was talking in the St Johnstone game where I skipped a lot of the play and we jumped to the 40th minute, etc. I talked about how much gorgeous play there was, skilling and frilling, shining and smiling. I'd done all that stuff and we talked about that in the St Johnstone game, but that wasn't what was happening in the United game. There was a lot of iffy moments. Patterson taking the eye off the ball, us missing balls in the middle of the park, passes going sideways, no penetrating runs and losing out and fullbacks. It was the exact opposite of what we saw on Wednesday night. But even though Joe Aribo didn't start this game of football, we had a Joe Aribo-esque impact in terms of quality, still shining in our squad, still buzzing around, trying to make things happen, and that's the man who's on the wall, who I thought was one of the few in that first half that actually got the ball down, realised it isn't going to be a pretty day for back heels and fancy flicks, and if it's no that type of game or no type of day at all, it's about grit, working your arse off and just trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. And for me, Ryan Kent done that all afternoon. A little bit unlucky with a couple of his runs, but at least he was positive and he was trying to get things going. And I put in a couple of dangerous crosses that we probably should have had players forward, but again, with Aribo no longer there, Arfield was making the runs, but with Lundstrom and Kamara sitting beside each other, it was all off kilter, all off balance, so a lot of the good crosses that came in was wasted until the stroke at half time, where the ball gets switched out to Ryan Kent after a lovely ball from Connor Goldson. Ryan Kent again sets about his fullback, just runs, fakes it, pulls it back, waits for Patterson on the overlap, and this time Patterson doesn't do a Flanny Alves and cuts back with the old right foot. No, he believes in his ability, whips it in, a wonderful ball with his left foot, and Morelos meets it 6 yards out, but unfortunately hits it straight at the goalkeeper. And this is where I love Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, because how many times have we seen games like this over the last couple of years, but we didn't touch it till the 70th minute, 75 minutes. How many times have I sat here and said that, and you've commented it down, and that was a struggle for me to say, by the way, but you commented it, I don't know if I'm saying it right, down in the old comment section below how much frustration we've had with this. But Gio, right away, Lundstrom comes off, Scotty Wright comes on, and I'm not going to pile on Lundstrom because I don't think playing him beside Glenn Kamara is beneficial to our team, not with the system that we like to play, and he's not going to make the same runs as Joe Aribo to it, so to expect that from him is absolutely silly in my opinion. I think you play one or the other, Glenn Kamara in the Glenn Kamara role or Lundstrom in there in certain games. I don't think you need the two of them next to each other, and for me, Gio got it right. Lundstrom comes off, keeps Glenn Kamara in that role, brings in Scotty Wright, shifts him out to the right hand side, which allows Hagi, who was struggling, people, in that first 45 minutes. Honestly, it was horrific to actually watch. And again, he was trying his best. He was still confident. He didn't shy away for the spotlight or anything like that, or shrink when it wasn't going on. He was still trying, to annoyance to a lot of people watching the game. But I thought the switch was spot on by Gio, and it did drastically change Hagi's performance from awful to no too bad. And again, that switch allowed Scotty Wright to go down the right hand side, and that finally gave us some pace, and you saw it right away. I mean, his first touch of the football was a good wee combination play with Morelos, and Wright just burns down the right hand side. It takes two Dundee United players to stop him. It should be a free kick, but the referee was god awful in this game. Somehow lets that go for a throw-in or something like that. The same combo continued just a couple of minutes after that, though, as we started to turn the screw a little bit. Again, Hagi was starting to influence the ball, nip it round very quickly. Glenn Kamara seemed to put his shoulders out in the second half. I thought he was quiet in the first half, playing alongside Lundstrom, but it was almost like, right, I'm back in my role now. I didn't need two guys to sit here with me and do the midfield. No, I'm the midfield. And I thought Glenn Kamara was absolutely outstanding in the second half. He starts winning the ball back. Everything starts to go a little bit quicker. And again, Scott Wright running down, gets his head up, picks out Alfredo Morelos, who unfortunately blasts it over the frickin' bar. And I think that miss for Alfredo Morelos took the stuffing at the team just a little bit, because it then went 10 minutes without anything really happening. Again, a couple of good runs for Kent, trying to beat people, trying to create something, but not enough people in the box. Morelos outside the box. It wasn't quite clicking, so we had to call on the old magic man himself, Mr. Joe Aribo, who was obviously out of the game because he's one yellow card away for a suspension. If he picks it up, the way it works out, he would then miss risk for the Old Firm game. So you understand why he wasn't playing, but he was badly needed in this game, and Gio brought him in at the exact time the big man was needed. And I thought, again, just adding that more quality, you could see it stepping up. And I'm not taking any shots at Scotty Arfield. I love my boy Scotty Arfield, but Arfield can't bring us what Aribo can bring us. Lundstrom can't bring us what Aribo can bring us. Good players at what they do, and I think Arfield complements Aribo very well with the forward runs, but he's nowhere near Joe Aribo, and I'm sorry to actually say that. Love you, Scotty. Now that little sentence there, love you Scotty, was actually not something I shouted in the 65th minute of this game, where some fantastic play again. Aribo, Glenn Kamara gives it to Hadji, it goes back to Scotty Wright, and him and Alfredo Morelos really does some lovely work here, and it ends up going inside to Scott Wright. He does a beautiful little drag over the football, sails a defender down the river. Honestly, you could have sailed on the defender as he went sliding in there. So class, so composed. Just have a final product, Scotty, and we have took the lead in the game, but it's an awful finish, and it's the problem with Scott Wright. Spark plug, injects pace, quickness, this and this, but the thing he's no really got just yet his final product, and it was shining at that moment because he done all the hard work. He can hit it anywhere but straight at the goalkeeper, but he ends up doing that. I know a lot of people saying it was a good save on commentary, but no, for me, straight at the goalie. Now from the actual save, by the way, there was a bit of a collision with a defender, a young lad called Craig Muir. No, not that one, and he ends up having to go off the park, but he was on the park a long time. And something that really annoyed me about this referee is Alfredo Morelos is spot on here. He goes there to the referee and says, right, if he's injured, he must go that way because he's right next to the actual goal, so you have to take the shortest route off the park if you're injured. That's just the rules. But the referee allowed the Dundee United player to be took off the park the long way, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Another questionable decision by this awful referee who's absolutely having howler after howler, no matter what game he actually takes off. But believe it or not, that kind of long extended break when the young laddie was injured, and I hope it's nothing serious as well, by the way, hopefully it's a very speedy recovery. I thought you actually had a very good game in the afternoon, diving about the place, looking very bright, a lot of energy and everything like that, so fingers crossed the injury isn't anything serious. But that long period of time where we waited for that, you could see the instructions getting shouted. Goldson was getting into somebody, Tavernier was into someone, Gio was asking people, and right away, soon as the game actually played on after a couple minutes, the sharpness was back in, the aggression. It was almost like we went 10 yards further up the park, and we ended up getting the breakthrough almost instantaneously. Have I used that right? I think I might have. But anyway, almost instantly as we get the ball, some good combination play again, nice little fast first touch Fitpot's what we came to expect. It sends Tavernier down the right hand side. He whips it in first time as we've got runners in the box. And the Dundee United boy just jumps out there like he's Mr. Kennedy and goes like that, like he's screaming on the actual mic. This one is a clear as day. No Moonhowler wrapping themselves in an Ivory Coast blanket can greet at this one. Surely, I mean, his arms out like that. It's a better save than McGregor's had to make all frickin' game. People, clear as obvious, but somehow, and I want to point this out, this referee, who's right there, sees it. Go back and look at it if you can get the videos up or the pictures up or anything like that. He's staring right at it. He doesn't give it. The linesman has to go. It's a clear and obvious handball, so the referee then blows up at the advice of the linesman. And then, I've got to be honest, my first thought when we got the penalty kick was beautiful, but also, can we sub on Kamaru? I didn't care if he's injured or no, but the skipper steps up, and you know what it is, it's like flipping a coin these days when Tavernier gets a penalty kick. But this one right here, he must be taking penalty tips for Kamaru, because it's wonderfully played into the corner, actually tickles the side net, the goalie dives the right way, and he's no any slouch in the goalkeeping department either, but it's just a wonderfully hit penalty kick. And again, that's what we're talking about, that moment there, 70th minute in a game of football that we've seen play out before. That is a frustrating, I can't believe we've dropped points and that will bounce back next week type of game. We've seen that, but the skipper went nah, I want the penalty kick, I'll step up like I've been scoring them all season, and I'll take the lead for the club. Captain. And not only was it a big goal in this game, by the way, but it also is now his 17th goal contribution in 27 games so far this season. No bad for a guy who's having a quiet year. But before we speak about the chance and everything for Dundee United, before we move on and we forget, I want to talk about Glenn Kamara in the 86th minute of this game, because it's a 50-50 ball. It brings it out of the sky like his name is Joe Rebo. Wonderful first touch, and then the other boy comes in trying to absolutely nail him, and he just spins him. Honestly, just spinning around like he's Kylie Minogue, and wins us a vital foul when Dundee United had put the full press on and had it because if they got that, the right into the box. That is sheer quality for Kamara, who again for me in the second half showed why he just wants to play in that midfield himself. But the last two chances in the game of football, one for Rangers where they should have made it 2-0, and then one obviously where it nearly finished 1-1. And you've got to give Alfredo Morelos a lot of credit. Again, he was poor in front of goal tonight, but it didn't stop his work rate. Or in fact, he goes and nips the ball and he shoves Charlie Mulgrew out the way. At least I think it was Mulgrew that he manhandles, and then he sprints forward. 90th minute, he's put in a hard shift, heat up, finds Joe Rebo, who cuts on to the old Bix feet on that left hand side, but unfortunately it's very well defended, and that should have probably saw the game out given it's 90 plus minutes. We're in the corner, but Hadji tries like a fancy Rabona thing. I don't know what he's actually doing here. Gives him the ball back anyway. After a kind of long period of Dundee United having the ball eventually gets crossed in. Kamara, who I've sung a lot of praise for here, moves out the way of the ball. Maybe he thinks Goldson's getting it. I think Goldson thinks Kamara's getting it. Anyway, Kamara misses the ball, Goldson misses the ball, it drops to Nicky Clark with a looping little header, and it crashes on the top of the bar. When I tell you the underpants were nearly filled, ladies and gentlemen, the underpants were nearly filled. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's us all done and dusted with the old game recap. That's my thoughts and opinions in the game. What about you? Let me know down there in the old comment section below. Again, it wasn't a pretty game, but 3 points is all that matters. And again, 55 was built on wins like this, because again, a couple of weeks time, we'll not remember the performance, but we'll remember the cheeky 3 points. So with you hopefully getting involved in today's video, I will jump over to Twitter and read from the people. And the first one comes in from Ewan McKenzie, and he writes in, Kent man of the match, ran the show today, solid performance all around. Anyone doubting whether he wants it or anything like that just has to look at that performance. He was the only one that wanted it. He was the one that was willing to take the contact. He was the one who was willing to try things, to try and spark us into life. That is what you get. Colin Monroe writes in, Hadji, no, laughing at the back. I can't believe Hadji won the overall man of the match. I think the sponsor must have been his dad that picked the man of the match this afternoon. I love my boy Hadji, but it wasn't his day. Curry writes in, Scott Wright definitely made a difference. Should have scored. Man of the match overall for Alfredo. Good team effort tonight and getting better each game. Giovan writes in, Saucy Glenn, good to see Saucy getting in. Kimberly writes in, worst I've seen us since Gio took over. There's always going to be games like this though during a season, but given the fixtures we've got coming up, I hope it's a one-off and it's just the case we've had quite a run of games. I think you've answered your own thing there. I think you do get games like this. There's nothing really that can ever be said. Apollo writes in, seemed a bit slow in the first half, but when we changed it with more tempo, second half was definitely different. Kent, my man of the match, by the way. Jeff writes in, 1-0 every game wins the actual league. And the last one we'll read out in tonight's video, we'll scroll all the way down here, stop it all the way down here, and we'll stop it right here. And it actually comes from Deaky Neal, and he writes in, a hard slog, but a win's a win. Thought Kent and Kamara were the only bright sparks until Scott Wright came on the park. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. And if you are still here, by the way, if you don't mind hitting the like button, it helps people find the channel. That would be greatly appreciated, as well. But I'm going to try and get this video up before midnight, so wish me luck. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves, everyone. I've been CJNova92. That has been Rocky Boy Johnson. I'll see you in the next video. All the best, and bye-bye.